Hey guys, it's Julie Spencer, author juliespencer.com. I just wanted to share some videos with you on how to write romance. And I'm planning to do a whole series of videos. And so we're going to cover everything from how to use tropes, what the difference is between story structure, plotting, and outlining, and what the different types of romance stories there are, like romance, traditional romance novels and love stories and dramas and women's fiction. So we're going to be covering a lot of different topics. Today, I want to just start us off by talking about the difference between story structure, plotting, and outlining, and how that relates to writing romance. So my first published novel was a great story. I'm a great storyteller, but it wasn't a romance novel. And I learned that the hard way. But it went over really well on Amazon as a romance novel. But when I started writing my second book, I had people telling me that I really didn't know what I was doing and that my story was not a romance novel. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, because it's got two people falling in love and they have lots of grand adventures and they live happily ever after. So how is that not a romance novel? So they told me I needed to learn story structure. And that set me off on a journey of how to write a romance novel. So there are a lot of different kinds of story structure. Some of the traditional ones are like the hero's journey, 3-act structure, plot point theory, excuse me. And then there are like beats and rising action and character growth. And I just felt like I was ready to beat my head against a brick wall. So there are hundreds of ways to structure and plot a story, but none of them seem to work for a romance novel. So my focus shifted from how to structure a novel to how to structure a romance novel. So there is a difference between story structure, plotting, and outlining. And many people, including myself, use them interchangeably. So a plot is a series of events, usually in chronological order, in a cause and effect sequence. Simple stories might just have one sequence of events that can be like laid out on a straight line. Other stories are more complex. They might have several different sequences of events happening simultaneously, such as subplots and character arcs. Story structure, on the other hand, is a collection of guidelines around which you can build a story, a recipe to follow, if you will. Some examples: hero's journey, 3-act structure, plot point theory, snowflake method, etc. But none of them work for romance. Why? They all assume that there is one or more protagonists who is a person. It's often referred to as a hero or a heroine. Each one of those people, the hero and heroine, the protagonist, has a certain goal in mind, such as save the world, rescue the princess, etc. So in a romance novel, the goal is to fall in love. So if they don't fall in love, then it's not a romance novel. So the goal of the entire story is to fall in love. So whatever else happens in the story is subplot. The romance is the protagonist. Everything else that happens along the way helps the characters fall in love or prevents the characters from falling in love. So talk about plotting, talk about story structure. What about outlining? So an outline is a framework on which you can hang your story structures and their corresponding plots. And yes, I did use that plural because most stories have more than one story structure. So when romance is involved in a story, often one or more of the characters has a different goal, and the romance gets in the way of achieving that goal. So the outline takes all the different goals and shows them together on a frame so that you can break it down into a beginning, middle, and end. Okay, so let's just quickly recap. Story structure is a collection of guidelines around which you can build a story. A plot is a series of events, usually linked in chronological order in a cause and effect sequence. And an outline is the framework on which to hang your story structures and their corresponding plots. So the outline is usually broken down into beginning, middle, and end and I'll show you how to outline a romance novel in a future video. But in the next video, I'm going to show you why you might not actually be writing a romance novel. Don't shoot the messenger. I will tell you why, and I'm going to tell you how you can determine what type of story you're actually writing and how you can use that to your advantage. Just because you're not writing a traditional romance doesn't mean that you don't have a really great story. So in the next video, we'll talk about that. And if you want to get in touch with me, I would love to hear from you. You can find me at authorjuliespencer.com or spencerpublishingllc.com. That's my publishing company. And you can reach me at julie@spencerpublishingllc.com. So you can email me, julie@spencerpublishingllc.com. I look forward to getting to know you over the next couple of videos, and I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope that they are helpful for you. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video.